Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dentia, and I'm from SCBD Toastmasters Club. And today I'm serving as your room assistant. So welcome to the Vice President of Education's breakout room. And this session is dedicated especially to Club VPE in District 87. So for those who need credit towards Club DCP, please type your division, club abbreviation, position, and your name into the chat box with the same format as what you're using when you enter the main room earlier. Kindly note that the chat will be used as the proof of your attendance, and I will be sending it to the registration team later on. During the session, I will also take candid photos from time to time, and I will also like to remind you that this session is recorded, and the recording will be published at social media accounts of District 87. Again, I would like to reiterate that the candid photos and recordings will also be used as the proof of your attendance. Now, let us begin the session. Firstly, I would like to introduce you briefly to our facilitator today. So distinguished Toastmaster Natali Cahyadi is a business manager by day and public speaker by night and weekend. She is currently a member in two Toastmasters Club, and she is also serving as the president of Bhinneka Online Toastmasters Club. Earlier to this, she was holding many other club officers' positions, to name a few: past club president, past VPE, past secretary, as well as past area director of Bali. She has been a member of Toastmaster for almost 7 years, and she found her passion for sharing and speaking through Toastmaster. Lastly, she believes in progress over perfection. So without further ado, let us welcome distinguished Toastmaster Natali Cahyadi. DTM Natali Cahyadi, over to you.
Thank you, Room Assistant Toastmaster Dentia. Hello, everyone. How are you? All good? You can type in the chat box, how are you feeling today? So I can see a little bit of your, spirit or your feelings before we actually begin the session. Great and blessed. Feeling good. Good, feeling great, amazing, great. Okay, awesome. All right, so today, it is my privilege to share with you some of my ideas or experience about my role as a VPE. I've been a club president for 1.5 years and then VPE for 2.5 years. So what I'm going to share today is based on my humble experience, and I would like to invite other people in this room, the current and maybe past EXCO, current VPE, to also share their thoughts and their ideas. But first, let me share my presentation. Okay. So I think every one of you have done the pre-work questions where the committee asks you to, share some of the things that you are encounter or some challenges that you face, right? So this is what I learned and compile from your pre-work questions, because I believe to help you to the best of my ability, I need to listen and to learn from you all. I cannot do it one by one. So this is what I did. So I just compiled the challenges and the questions that you wanted to ask me. And during the presentation that I'm going to do for about like 20 minutes-ish later with the standardized slides from Toastmasters International, I will also try to answer some of these questions right away, giving some ideas or maybe some practical solutions that you can apply in your club meeting. So I noticed that the main challenges that you are all facing, I classified as MVP, the meeting organization, the VPE role, and problem during meeting. So other questions that you wanted to ask the facilitator, related to member motivation, again, to VPE role, which is very much understandable because 40% or maybe 50% of you are first timer, and also some tech support, as right now we are running on the online platform. So there's always like a different way of doing things compared to previously. Now, other things that was asked is, what do you need to do your role better? By the way, my screen is visible, right, Tia?
It is.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So helping members, helping yourself, and also collaboration in and out. So all of this question, I try to address some of them in the presentation. So let's start. Oops. Okay. So first, VPE role. VPE is Vice President of Education, but during my experience, and maybe you all feel it too, that it's mostly called Vice President of everything, because sometimes we feel like, I'm also doing this and this and this, I'm doing everything. And it's understandable, but later on I will share with you how we all can help each other and other exco can help each other too. So the burden can be shared. Other things we're going to talk today is responsibilities and also resources. Okay. So first up, Vice President of Education responsibilities for the club meeting, before the club meeting, is to review schedule roles, offer support to the Toastmasters, schedule education session. Now for this, I would like to point out one practical case study. Some of the questions I read was generally asking about, Natalie, what if it is so hard to find role takers? What if there is no speaker? And there was also a question, Natalie, my club growing so great, there was no slot. What should I do? So for those questions, let me try to give you some ideas. First one, when it is so hard to find role takers, today or now is the great time to do online meeting, because previously when we're stuck in offline meeting only, we can only reach out to people who live close by to us. AKA, for example, I live in Bali, so obviously I can't ask Toastmaster Dentia who live in Jakarta to come to Bali and do a role. But with online meeting, we can take a free Zoom flight and we can visit any club around the world. So to find role takers, definitely you can try to make friends and do collaboration with other clubs in our district or outside of our district. Now, further question might be, but Natalie, I don't know anyone. Guys, there are 30 people in this room. Those are your key contact person. Those are your resources from different clubs in our district. You can contact them if you need help. If you have speech slots and you need speakers, you can contact them and say, hey, I have speech slots. This is my club meeting schedule. Or if you need speech slot, you can also ask them. So collaboration is the best way to help fill in role taking, especially in the online setting. Another things related to this is, what if there is no speaker because my member is just too few? We can't really do a lot of things. All right. So my suggestion is just to focus on the members first. So if the members want to do speeches, or if they wanted to do more like behind the scene work, then focus on what they want to do. Focus on what their goals in joining Toastmasters. Then after that, when you are able to cultivate members that you have, no matter how small it is, you'll also be able to develop the club into like a bigger reach, because one person can bring another person and another person can bring another person. So it's like a chain reaction that is built. But first, look after the member that you have right now on your roster. So this is related to the schedule roles. How about schedule education session? And with online meeting, it's also easier to do this because, you know, we can ask someone from America to come and be our special speaker or someone from Brunei or Malaysia to do a different role, or someone from Indonesia. So education session, similar idea is to build relationship first, to collaborate, and then after that, we can also schedule a different education session relate to public speaking or leadership only. My answer is, I believe it depends on the club needs. So if your club is full of like young people or like business people, and you wanted to do something related with business and management, I would say it's also part of leadership. It's also part of communication. So why not doing education session that can benefit your member? Because that is like the key word, whatever that can benefit and further progress our member. So that's one of the education sessions. You can also invite speakers outside of Toastmaster. Before club meeting, ensure member conduct presentation from successful club series. This is kind of like the previous program as well. Notify the club president of education award. Upon arrival at club meetings, remember this slide was made when it was still offline meeting. It was not adjusted for hybrid or online meeting as well. So I'm just gonna let you read through it. By the way, the slide will be shared after the TLI finish, so you don't have to save anything. This will be given to you. Now, during the club meeting, initial project completion record, ensure member fill out award application and recognize members for achievement. I would like to point out one thing about recognize members for achievement. Some of the questions that generally come up was, Natalie, what if the member lose motivation, they don't want to do speeches? Or what if the member doesn't want to do Pathways project? What should we do to help them? So I think, and I believe that because people who join Toastmasters are adult, and generally they're already working. So they will be working in companies or government or maybe self-employed. So when you can motivate them to do their speeches, you can also say that, look, with Pathways, when you complete a level, you get a certificate. And that certificate of completion is a good, it will give you an edge when you're applying for a job or for promotion. And when people finish a level or getting an educational award, in the club central, there is an option to send a letter to employer. So if you haven't done it so, you can also ask the member, do you want the headquarters of Toastmasters International send a letter to your employer? And it's very easy. You just need to know their employer name, the address, and the name of the company. And Toastmasters International will send like one page of letter to certify or verify that you have actually finished that certain level. So certificate and letter for employer can be like a motivation for people to do their project, especially if they want to get ahead on their career as well. But other things that can also help you to motivate members to do speeches is when you make them feel supported, when you make them feel acknowledged for their contribution or for their speech. For example, if the people in the club celebrate their successes together, let's say Toastmaster, I'm just gonna pick one name, Toastmaster Rocky, the VPE from Wardaya, finished level 4, and we said, congratulations, Toastmaster Rocky, for finishing level 4 of dynamic leadership. Give him a clap. This now is the time of social media. So we get a nice picture of him. If you don't want to do like a little bit of PR or like a little bit of Canva, don't worry about it. Just a nice picture of him and post it in the WhatsApp group or in the Instagram account. Because I think most of the clubs have their own like social media accounts to reach out. So that could also be a way. All right, so other things that to do is preside over meeting, answer education program or speech contest question. Now, outside of club meeting, plan club meeting, promote participation, orient new members, encourage new members to participate. Some universal questions that was asked was, Natalie, how to plan club meetings effectively in a fun way? So there are like 2 layers of this question: how to plan it effectively. What I did in Magical Bali when I was a VPE was we make a theme and a roster for 3 to 6 months in advance. So for example, if September, so now August, we make from October to December. And in Magical Bali, there's like a slightly different way to do a meeting. The main reason why VPE got burned out, and I spoke from my personal experience, is because we need to find role takers. And it's so hard to approach people. And sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time we also face rejection, and sometimes we really took it personally. I know I did. I felt a lot of like burnout during my years as VPE. So I'm gonna share to you so you don't have to feel the same thing. One of the way that we did at Magical Bali is when VPE manage or shared the meeting roles and teams for the next 3 or 6 months, we also put the TOM or Toastmaster of the meeting right away. So for example, October 1st, the theme is this, and then the Toastmaster of the meeting is, let's say, Toastmaster Gani. October 15, the meeting theme is this, and the Toastmaster of the meeting is Toastmaster Saki. So we already got the member to agree on doing the role. And when they're agreed on doing the Toastmaster of the meeting role, the Toastmaster of the meeting role is also helping to organize the meeting. So they're trying to find out the role takers from inside the club first, and then from outside of the club. Here's where's the VPE can come in. For example, the Toastmaster of the meeting is a new member, and he or she said, I don't know anyone outside of the club, Natalie. Okay, no problem. I'll put you in contact with this. So that's how we are able to share the burden. In another way, we also help the member to feel included and appreciated, because they also learn how to organize a meeting. It's also a skill that can be applied in the real world, like event management. So this system worked, and it still works until I think already 4 years now. So that's how you can plan the meeting and also share a little bit of your burden finding role takers. Now, how to make the meeting fun? You can try by doing a fun meeting theme. I noticed when I look at the poster published in the district group, so many different like meeting theme. That's also fun. So I think it will be wonderful if you can find like a different kind of meeting theme. And not only the theme, but also weave it in the presentation as well. I think I went to Kidurong, I think, a couple of days ago, and the meeting theme was movie night, and the Toastmasters of the meeting did a wonderful job in incorporating all of these little bits of movie technical terms, like, you know, you got like a 10 out of 10 reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, and I would like to invite our film critic, the general evaluator, blah, blah, blah. So it was so much fun. I went to a meeting in America, and they had a listener role. So basically what the listener role did is they just listen, and at the end of this prepared speech session, they will ask, who said this? Who said this? Who said this? What did they say? So it's kind of like a game, like a mini game that can be done in 2 to 3 minutes, but it made us pay attention to the speeches. So those are like some things that you can spice up, that you can do to spice up the meeting. For us in Bhinneka, we did a karaoke night once every, like, I don't know, 6 months. And it was a blast. Everybody likes to do online karaoke, even though it's not, yeah, you know, it's not good, but people have fun. So that's great. Okay. Another thing is assign a mentor, attend club executive committee meetings, and attend district council meeting. For assigning a mentor, you can assign a mentor inside of the club, and now because of online, you can also find mentors from outside of the club. It is only possible because of online. What you can do is you can assign a mentor for a mentor can be someone who have done the project or the progress first. So it doesn't have to be like only 2 or 3 people being the mentor, but you can start with like the senior mentor and then like a junior mentor and then, the new member. So there is like a regeneration. Otherwise, it will also be burnout for you. Other things that we do also to facilitate member progress on Basecamp: prepare your successor for office. And I'm pretty sure that each one of you already familiar with Basecamp. If you're not familiar with Basecamp and you kind of like wondering, Natalie, how should I navigate Basecamp and pathways? I'm very new in this. There are resources and videos in toastmasterinternational.org that you can click and you can learn. It was pretty much self-explanatory. You just need to spend like an hour to really look at the video and try to actually do the steps. So when you have new members, you can also send them the resources, the video, the tutorial, so they can also do it as well. It doesn't have to be explained one at a time every time, because it will also be draining for you too. Oops. Right. And the executive committee prepare, present, and education program reports related to DCP as well, and share information on upcoming speech contests. Some questions I got is, Natalie, who should arrange speech contests? Is it the VPE? Well, the VPE and the EXCO, executive committee, is the responsible party to, like the contact person or the one who shouldered responsibility on the speech contest organization and result. But you don't have to do it by yourself. You can assign a speech contest chair to run the entire event. So VPE is like and the president, club president, are the one who are responsible for upholding the speech contest. But the one who's doing the technical or the legwork can be other member. Like, let's say Toastmaster Dentia want to compete. So other people can be the chair, and she is allowed to compete as well, because she will not know who the judges are and, what is like the technicalities and yada, yada, yada. So other EXCO who are not competing can be the partner for this speech contest chair. So he or she can do their job properly. Okay. Now, how to fulfill VPE responsibilities? How, when, who, what? By the way, feel free to put in your questions in the chat box, or other things that you wanted to ask or I haven't addressed during this presentation, because after this, we're going to discuss it. So VPE responsibility action plan: how will you fulfill, when, who is available to help you, what materials and resources can you use? Now, I would like to point out who is available to help you. When I became the Vice President of Education in Magical Bali, like years ago, in Bali, there were only 2 clubs. So it was still offline meeting. There were only 2 clubs and both clubs were dying. So it was the worst time ever for a VPE to assume her role. There was no members, no active members, and the previous EXCO gone. There was no delegation or training or passing over, nothing. So I became so burnt out, and it also affected myself, honestly, because I was so stressed and I felt like Toastmaster is becoming a job. It's just so stressful. I became, personally burnt out and sensitive. So I learned that sometimes we forgot to ask for help. I always thought that there was no other people who can help me, but actually there was. So there was like people from Brunei who came to do Brunei conference in Bali in 2016, and they actually the one who, turned my spirit, ignited my fire again. I remember the late Sean Narcissus. He was such a role model, and he was the one who said, Natalie, it's okay to be burnt out, but help is always available when you reach out for them. So I remember that, and then I started to do what I can. I started to ask for help. So I asked for the past members. I asked the past EXCO I don't ask them to come to the meeting. I just ask them, what should I do? Who should I contact? And it really helps to reduce my burden, and I can start enjoying the club and the Toastmaster meeting again. And when you are able to enjoy the club meeting, you're able to bring in that positive energy, and that positive energy will attract people to come in and join. In 1 year, from 6 members, we managed to end the term by 23 members, simply by changing the way we operate and the way we think. It's not a job. This is something we like and we enjoy. And let's make Toastmaster our second family for people who come to Bali. And it worked. That is like the recipe that worked for us. So now, please learn from my experience. Don't let yourself burn out. Before you feel so burnt out, reach out for help to your exco, to your area director or division director, and to other exco, to other 30 people in this room. Ask for help, ask for sharing or experience. Cultivate the spirit of collaboration. That is like one thing I would like you all to ponder on and to remember. Okay, checklist, blah, 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 blah. Now I have my good friend Aryo here with me from SCBD, and he shared with me the SCBD secret sauce, which is this: invite 1 to 3 members to serve on education committee. They actually apply it to every committees. Maybe our VPE from SCBD can share a little bit later on. So what happened is you have executive committees, 7 people on board, but you can also invite your members to take on some of your assumed responsibilities. In this way, the members feel included, and you can also train your successor. So I think it will be wonderful if each of us can start thinking, who are some of our members that we can, invite to work on education committee. Maybe they don't become the vice president of education on next term, it's fine, but at least this term they learn something and they help you to do your role even better. So this is also mentioned in club constitution. So it is a great way for you to share your burden and to train your successor along the way. So that's one thing that, maybe some ideas that you can apply. Also, these are some Vice President of Education resources. This is mainly for the offline meeting. For the online one, my best suggestion is find some videos for pathways and pathways navigation. I went there, I watched the videos. It was pretty informational. It was pretty informative and pretty self-explanatory. But if you don't understand anything or some part of it, don't hesitate to reach out and ask other people in your division, in your area, your AD, your past VPE, your past club president. So just reach out and ask. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop here because I wanted to listen more from you. So
some questions?
Yeah.
Natalie, yeah. The first one is from May Ann, Toastmaster May Ann from Brunei Speakers. Was the online karaoke part of the meeting or an activity among club members outside of meetings?
Great question, May Ann. So we actually use a different time outside of club meeting. So it is not a part of club meeting, but we say, time for bonding or fun time with, your club name. Because sometimes we come to Toastmasters and it's great that Toastmasters have this format, the speech, the table topic, the evaluation session, but sometimes it became too repetitive. So we need to spice it up from time to time. You can do it once every quarter, once every 6 months, just to establish more bonding and relationship. I hope that answers.
All right. Does that answer the question, Toastmaster Anne? I assume it yes. Next one is from Toastmaster Chahya from Telkom Gatsu. Is there any set of rules in Toastmaster on what things or what we have to deliver, I think in terms of education session? Or can we choose freely the topic that related to increasing the members' soft skill as public speaker?
This is a great question. Is it Toastmaster Chahya? So thank you for asking that. I think there is no like a written guidelines about what kind of education session that you can do in Toastmaster. I believe that as long as we hold into like the 4 core values of respect, service, integrity, and excellence, and also focusing more on like the personal growth and communication and leadership skills, soft skill is actually part of leadership. Communication is part of soft skills, and soft skills is part of what makes a good leader great. So if you can incorporate that, I think that could also be an edge or an advantage for your club, because to cope up with the changing world, if you know in Toastmasters, they have like a great basic, but ever since it started in 1924, only in 2017, the online pathways rolled. So it took them 90 something years to, change it. But now we are living in a fast changing world. So I think you can arrange it according to what your club needs, your club member needs, and you can also add that value for them.
Great. And since this is about education, there is another question. How often do you think it's best to hold or to have the education or join meeting?
I would say it depends on each club, what they need, and also what their club member wants. For example, if your purpose or your goal in doing education session is to equip your club members, in a sense, you want also to retain them because they see value in your club, you can do it once every 2 months. It's not too much, but it's also not too, not too, how do you call it? It doesn't have a lot of gaps, or once every 3 months. So let's say every quarter you have a different theme and a different guest speaker. But if your goal is to increase membership number while also giving some value to your member, maybe this can be done more often. Let's say your club only have 8 people, right? And you're thinking, okay, what should I do? Should I do membership campaign? But what can we do? We are only 8. So maybe you can invite a speaker to share, and they can also bring in the crowd or the guests. So there are like different ways of doing this, depends on your goal and what your club needs. I would say once every 2 to 3 months is more than enough, or as often as what you need depending on your club goals.
Thank you. I guess, oh yeah, there's one more. How to attract members and exco to be active and enthusiastic because they're still doing offline meeting. This is from Toastmaster Habiba from Binjai Toastmasters Club.
Oh, so is it online or offline?
Offline.
Offline. Okay. I think we have people from Brunei right here who's doing offline meeting as well. Would you mind, or not just people from Brunei, or any one of you, if you are doing offline meeting, can you unmute and maybe share 1 minute of your experience, how to make your club meeting interesting to attract members? Oh, Brunei is no longer doing offline. Okay, thank you, Mayan. So only Binjai is doing offline, or is there anyone else doing offline? All right, okay. So in Bali, we have a club called UCTC, Ubud Canggu Toastmasters Club. They're doing offline generally. So what they do is they're meeting every week, but they're doing like a different, for example, the week number 1 and week number 3, they're doing a normal club meeting. Week number 2, they're doing table topic only. So that meeting is only for table topic for 2 hours full. So one person can speak maybe at least twice or sometimes 3 times for that one meeting. And the other week 1 and week 3, it's like a normal meeting where they have prepared speeches, a little bit of table topic, and also evaluation. How you can make it fun also, I think, just trying to really see your members well. You know, in Bali, we're very much informal. So when we went to Ubud Canggu Club Toastmaster meeting, we don't wear slippers or we don't wear footwear. It's barefoot meeting. So that by itself is already like a different experience. So if you want to do like a meeting with thematic meeting like Halloween, that's what we did also. We came in and we did some like horror makeup. Or we also do like a Valentine's Day where we bring in chocolate and we, you know, share with each other. So those are the kind of things that we can do to spice up the offline meeting. And don't forget, one thing that always works is always have food available. Food is like the best. If you have food on the meeting, even though it's just like a chocolate or snacks, people will smile. Trust me. So I hope that answered your question.
I think I would agree with that. Food is always like the the thing together people. Okay, there is another question from Toastmaster Yosef from Ultimate. Is there any recognition in terms of role takers? Members are encouraged to do the speech because they have level and pathway recognition. But how about role takers? Yeah.
Yeah, great, Toastmaster Yosef. I think one of the reasons why people don't really want to do other roles except speaking or evaluation because they don't get like special recognition. In the traditional or legacy program, we have like a different pathways called competent leadership, where when you do role taker, you can complete that path, but it was not there anymore because of the pathways. In pathways, what you can do is when you do one role, you can register it online. At this date, I've done this role, but there is like no actual recognition that can be held, right? So what I can suggest is if the club wants to do it, they can have like the same certificate, just like the icebreaker certificate or the best speaker or, you know, the best table topic. And you can say best role taker or first time role taker, just change the writing and you can put their name there. People like when they can see their name on a certificate, no matter what it is. So making that template once and just changing the name and changing the date of the meeting, it's going to be easier for you to carry on, or not you, but the VPPR to carry on for the next meeting. So I think that can help.
All right. The next question will be from Toastmaster Ari Jeffrey. This is from UBD Toastmasters Club. First question is, could you clarify more on the education committee? Is it more of a member approach, knowing what their educational goals are rather than the executive committee one? And second is comparing yourself being a VPE and after the role experience. This is based on your experience, I guess, he's asking. In what ways did you develop?
Okay, for the first one, I would like to ask my friend Aryo. Aryo, are you here?
Yes, of course, my friend Natalie. I'm listening to you.
Can you share a little bit about the educational committee?
Okay, so thank you, Natalie. And for the questions, so basically at SCBD Toastmasters last year, we tried to implement something called standing committee. Standing committee is the big circle. Inside this big circle, there is executive committee, as Natalie has said, the 7 exco that you have already known, the president until the SAA. And we have also 4 additional committee, which is education committee, membership committee, PR committee, and social and receptions committee. The executive committee is chaired by the president, with the member is the exco. The education committee is chaired by the VPE, with the rest members is the team of the education committee. Membership and PR also the same. Also the same for the SAA, with the social and receptions committee. So basically, it is just like a structure of organizations inside the standing committee. And if you have do you have a particular questions regarding to the education committee or what? Is there any particular party?
Toastmaster Ari, maybe you can answer.
Okay. Yeah, Aryo. I'm just asking if so it's a committee set towards deciding the educational goals of the club, or everyone's like educational goals or something like that.
So it's
Can you hear
interesting
me?
question. In the end, everything is about the members. So whatever the members' goals, you're trying to accumulate them and try to think about how the club can help members. And if we only have executive committee, for example, VPE only works for the educational staff, he or she will be very tired thinking of all members in the club. But if you have a team, for example, in this case, Dentia, for example, the VP of Facilitators Masters Club, if she has a team consists of 2 or 3 persons, they can think about what the members need. You can, for example, you can try to ask the members with interview or questionnaire, what do they want to achieve? You can set several questions, then you know what they need, what they want, what are their concerns, what do they like, and why they choose SBD Toastmasters, for example. So you know why they are there and what they want to achieve. And by accumulating the answers, you know, you have the rough idea, the big picture about your club, about your members. So you can set programs. For example, you can make edu sessions in certain topics that the member needs, or you can make some kind of internalizations or team building sessions like we just did yesterday. So by having knowledge, by having understanding about what really is going on at your club, you know what to do. Because sometimes we don't know what they want, therefore we don't know what we have to do. Thank you. I hope they answered the questions. Back to you, Natalie.
How is it, Jeff? Ari? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Aryo.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, by the way, guys, if you have any experience you wanted to share, feel free to type in the chat box. After this before this Zoom breakout room finish, we can save the chat. So we can also get some ideas from other people who's doing different roles. Okay, let me see.
I think the second answer, the second question would be your experience. What was your development that you're getting after taking the roles?
Yeah.
After being the VP, yeah.
Okay, so Toastmaster Ari, for me personally, I felt like I was like a fish out of the water in the first like 9-10 months doing the role. You know, I didn't know anything. I was clueless. I was stupid. Nobody there to help me and doing things. So I really learned by doing. But now it's great because you have resources, you have people to contact with. So what I learned the most is just basically a simple fact that if you want to do something and you're determined to do it, you can do it. Because I started with like 0 and somehow we manage. So it's more on building up our confidence and also our, mindset. That's what I would say personally.
Great. Does that answer your question, Toastmaster Ari?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And let me check.
Let me speak a little bit first, Toastmaster
yes,
Tia. Thank you, Toastmaster May Ann, for adding that. Yes, Table Topic Master is part of listening project in level 2, or I think it was also an elective in level 3, if I'm not mistaken. So only Table Topic Master can be registered, but the rest like grammarian, counter, timer, I don't think there is like any specific project in the pathways that you can do to do that. And for Toastmaster Wardaya, can a VPE choose his own team member, or does it have to go through an election or voting? No, you can choose your own team member because this is like non-formal. This is basically to help you and help them. Okay, Toastmaster Dentia, any other question I missed?
The last one, I guess. Can VPA choose his own team members, or does it have to go through an election or voting?
Yeah, I just answered it.
Oh, yeah, just answered that one.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, how do we manage Zoom fatigue from VPE Alex?
Oh, yes, correct.
Right now, I would like to ask you, how do you manage Zoom fatigue? Maybe Toastmaster, let me see. Toastmaster Jade Pang from Tawau.
I
Hello.
Yeah, I don't actually for online meeting. Sometimes some of our members who are not familiar with the system, they their connection is not good. Sometimes, and then some of them are senior members. They are not familiar with the digital stuff. And then some of the members also, they have their own meeting other than Toastmaster. Most of the time, I mean, almost every day, they have all other meetings. Then comes to Toastmaster meeting already very exhausted.
Yeah.
At the
Okay.
end of the day, at night, you see very exhausted already.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, everyone experienced the same thing. So thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Jade. I see Toastmaster Zaki raise your hand. So please share.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to share. I already made the questionnaire. That simple questionnaire only consists around three questions. Like, do you have any suggestions to make our meeting to be more fun, or is there any interesting idea overall? Overall like that. And I also spread the questionnaire to potential member, because our club is based on a company, and there are other employee that have a right to be a member but hasn't joined the Toastmaster yet, because I don't know why. So I just want to make sure why is it so why isn't there any potential member who come first? At least I want them to try like that. So I really try to get the suggestion, but so far there's no one answered the questionnaire. So basically I want to share, is there any other way to get a suggestion, especially in this online case?
Yep.
Like that.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Saki, for your question. And I would like to open it for all people in this room to type in the chat box. How do you do in your own club to invite potential members and to turn them into possible members, especially to give them like some information about Toastmasters? Because Toastmaster Saki, getting and recruiting members is mainly VPM duty. But as a VPE, we can help provide information and provide like the value, helping them to show the values out of Toastmasters, which one of them is, I believe, the online educational system of pathways, plus the networking. So maybe each one of you can share in the chat box what did you do in your club to help potential guests see values in Toastmasters in your take as a VPE. If it's me, Toastmaster Saki, personally, I would say that help them to see the value by, for example, focusing on the supportive environment or focusing more on the personal growth, and also showing the results is always the best. So if you have testimonials, or if you have, because what you did was great, you're sending them the questionnaire to understand their needs, right? But you can also ask people from other club, and just have like a discussion like this. It's also helping you to brainstorm possible questions and anticipate possible needs. That's what I think. And then you can also wait in the chat box, because I believe other people here will share what works well for them as well. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe for additional information, I also send them along with the questionnaire, I also send them the benefit of being a Toastmaster member. Like you will get a free course like that about leadership, about soft skills, and etc. I also send them a screenshot, and I even said that if you want to be a Toastmaster member, it will be free because the company will pay for it. But unfortunately, there isn't any person who filled the questionnaire yet. So maybe is there any information? That
Yeah,
thank you.
I think sometimes, you know, in sales, people don't buy because of the product characteristic. People buy because of the emotion. So when they feel like they're emotionally connected, when they feel like, oh, I can become better, or oh, I can, you know, I can feel supported, or I can feel acknowledged, then they can see the value, then they can join. So maybe change the approach a little bit into a more humanistic approach, befriending them, and showing people. I think that's the best way to do it. This is me before joining Toastmasters, and this is me after joining Toastmasters for 3 months or 6 months or a year. When people can see the difference, that emotional connection will start to grow. Okay, I hope that helps you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, so it's 5 minutes. If there are no other questions, I actually would like to invite some of you to share one main takeaway that you learned from the session today. Maybe new insights or new things that you want to apply in your club. So please unmute yourself and share. Anyone? Otherwise, I'm gonna pick. How about Toastmaster? Yes, Toastmaster Rocky from Wardaya.
First of all, I want to say thank you. And I'm still a learner. So what takeaway that really hit me when I was listening to Miss Natalie is that we can, I love the idea of the, what do we call it? Regeneration structure, right? From the senior to junior and the new member. As I am a new member too, but I mean, like, I will never forget that. So I thought it was only the senior member like that, not senior, junior member. So yeah, thank you very much for the idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rocky. How about other Toastmaster? Maybe Toastmaster from Malaysia, Sandakan, Nurul Alsa.
Hi, everyone. The single takeaway thing that I think that I would like to apply to my club later would be having an outside speaker coming to our club and give talk. I like the idea of bringing in their own crowds into the club meeting. That's it. Over to you, Natalie.
Thank you, Nurul Alsa, for sharing. How about from Eternal Club, Toastmaster Stephanie?
Hello, Natalie. Actually, the takeaway that I will take would be the last from the last question you helped to answer, is that to gain a new member would be not taking as a sales strategy is not because of the product, but building emotional, like being a friend with them, and then you can share your personal stories, like what Toastmaster has benefited you. And also, I think from your side as well, I learned, we try to implement the same strategy as you share, like every 2 months, we have like once of 2 months of educational session by inviting, person from other club or maybe a non-Toastmaster member to share their experience. So that's from my side. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stephanie. How about from Kuching, VPE, Toastmaster Huaan?
Hi, everyone. The key takeaway that I learned from just now from your entire sharing is that having the questionnaires to understand about your entire members, what their wants and what their needs are, that in order for us to like set what kind of the teams that can help them to brings every members to become very connected to each others. And another thing is that I learned is that because whenever I started to have a meetings, right, we used to think about the teams only. We never think about the members like that. And the last thing is actually maybe we can have, because for certain club they were going to have a membership lackings, right? We can implement the educational sessions in order to attract more guests, so that we can bring them to our club like that. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Waan. Okay, time is a little bit almost finished, so just one last one. Who wants to do it? Just unmute yourself right now. One quick one. Anyone? Or I'm just gonna pick. Toastmaster Gani, maybe.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Natalie. So the takeaway that I want to apply based on your presentation is that I want to apply about education committee. That it will help me to do my job as a VPE, and I want to appreciate more our members, since this is in the office clubs. So I want to give their progress to their supervisor, so that the supervisor will know the progress of every members in these Toastmaster clubs. And
okay, thank you, Toastmaster Gani. Sorry, I need to cut you off because the
facilitator
told me. Yeah, but thank you. So everyone, thank you for sharing all of your thoughts. I also just shared a little bit of what I experienced, and maybe it can give you some ideas of how you do VPE role even more effectively. And I apologize if there's any mistakes or mispronounced or any, words that offend you. So I thank you. I hope this session is beneficial. Keep in touch with each other, and don't forget to cultivate the spirit of collaboration so we all can support each other, and we don't have to be vice president of everything anymore, right? Just vice president of education. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.